Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narom Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanti Ayat Nastapesu Abhatesu Nityam Bhakta Sevyam Bhagavatai Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhakti Naistike. We are reading from the 9th canto, chapter 21, the dynasty of Bharat. And we will read today text 19 and 20. They don't have a purport. 21 and then 21. We can repeat together 21. I will first read 19 and 20. Yaryash Tato Karyak Satrant Brahman Yavaktatam Duritakshayo Mahaviryat Tasya Tranyam Yavni Kavi Uskara Ityatra Ye Brahmagatim Katam Brihat Kshatraya Saputra Bhut Hastiyam Dashtinapuram. Translation. From Garga came a son named Stini, and his son was Garhya. Although Garhya was a Kshatriya, there came from him a generation of Brahmins. From Mahavirya came a son named Duritaksaya, whose sons were Trayaruni, Kavi, and Puskararuni. Although these sons of Duritaksaya took birth in the dynasty of Kshatriyas, they too attained the position of Brahmins. Virat Kshatriya had a son named Hasti, who established the city of Hastinapura, now New Delhi. Text 21. We wait a bit. Nearly there on the board. A good rider, quick rider. Yeah, now we can go. Ajamido Tvimidascha Bhumidasahastina Ajamidasya Vamsyasyo Priyamedadvayotvicha Ajamido Tvimidascha Omidasahastina Ajamidasya Vamsyachyo Priyameda Ayodvicha Ajamido Tvimidascha Omidasahastina Ajamidasya Vamsyasyo Priyameda Ayodvicha
Ajamido Dimidascha
Ajamido Tvimidascha
Vidasahastina
Omidasahastina
Jamidasya Vamsyashu
Ajamidasya Vamsyasyo
Vilamidadayo
Priyamedayodvicha
Jamida Dimidascha
Ajamido Tvimidascha Omidasahastina Ajamidasya Vamsyasyo Priyamedayodvicha Give me my life. Vidasya Vamsyasyo Ajamido Dimidascha Word for word translation. Ajamida, Ajamida, Vimidha, Vimidha, Cha, also, Omida, Omida, Cha, also, Hastina became the sons of Hasti. Ajamidasya of Ajamida, Vamsha, descendants, Syu, As, Priyameda Adaya, headed by Priyameda, Vicha, Brahmanas. Translation. From King Hasti came three sons named Ajamida, Tvimida, and Purumida. The descendants of Ajamida, headed by Priyamida, all achieved the position of Brahmins. Report by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. This verse gives evidence confirming the statement of Bhagavad Gita that the orders of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, are calculated in terms of qualities and activities. Guna, karma, vibha, rasa, Bhagavad Gita 4.13. All the descendants of Ajamita, who was a Kshatriya, became Brahmins. This was certainly because of their qualities and activities. Similarly, sometimes the sons of Brahmins or Kshatriyas become Vaishyas. Brahmana Vaishyatam Kata. When a Kshatriya or Brahmana adopts occupation or duty of a Vaishya, Pshiko Raksha Vanyam, Bhagavad Gita 1844, he is certainly counted as a Vaishya. On the other hand, if one is born a Vaishya, by his activities he can become a Brahman. This is confirmed by Narada Muni. Yasyaya Lakshanam Proktam. The members of the Varnas, or social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, must be ascertained by their symptoms, not by birth. Birth is immaterial. Quality is essential. I read the verse again. Ajamidho tvimidascha omidasa hastina ajamidhasya vamshasyo viyamidadayam tvijam. From King Hasti came 3 sons named Ajamida, Vimida, and Urmida. The descendants of Ajamida, headed by Priyamida, will all achieved the position of Brahmanas. Om Ajnanatimandasya Janam Shanakir Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chitayamanopistam Staptam Yena Tadishvam Kadamyam Kadati Svapadantika Vandeham Shigo Shiyoda Pada Kamnam Shigum Vaishnavam Shan Shiopam Jagatatam Saganaragnatam Tam Tam Sativam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakanalita Shivisha Kamvitam Shan He Krishna Gunas Dinabha Jatpate Gopesha Koprakanta Namustate Taptakan Snakalangi Radhe Vindavashvi Vishavala Sutadevi Kanama Haripin Vanga Kalpa Vishami Pansam Vivsha Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutade Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurmai Pacharini Nirvishesha Samyavadi Paskachani Dasatamini Srila Prabhupada Ki. So we have here in the 9th canto all these lists of names in these dynasties. It's amazing. Why do we need to hear that? Why do we read all these verses with all these names? That shows that Bhagavatam is authoritative. It's based on facts, and all these dynasties, they have existed And Sukadev Goswami is amazing because Sukadev Goswami is a pure Brahmin. A pure Brahmin means his memory was without fail. That Shrutidar once heard, he could remember. He didn't forget anymore. Because why is that? Because he could concentrate his consciousness with all force in the hearing power. So he heard with rapt attention, and he could remember. That is Shrutidar. People in Kali Yuga, they follow sinful life. These are the principles of life. The sinful life means we are breaking the regulative principles. If you break these regulative principles and you eat meat, fish, eggs, and you drink alcohol, you are addicted to sex life. Yes, gambling and all these things. Then you become completely impotent. You cannot control your mind. Material energy will control you. But he was transcendently situated. And he was above these regulative principles. Very powerful. And that's a Brahman. We speak here about the descendants of Ajamida. They were born from a Kshatriya father, and they became Brahmins. Interesting. We have other examples like that. We heard in the 5th canto. The 5th canto, King Rishabhadev had 100 sons, right? 100 sons. And I think 9 of them became Paramahamsa, devotees of the Lord. That's above the Brahman. And 64 became Brahmins. And all the rest became Kshatriyas. So that shows the same thing. It's not by birth that one becomes a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Brahman. Of course, he remembered all these names, Sukadev Goswami, just by hearing once. This Shrutidar. And one is in the mode of goodness, one's memory will increase. Because one power of hearing increases. And in the mode of goodness, one is able to control the mind. Those who are not in the mode of goodness, they are controlled by the mode of passion and ignorance. Because breaking these regulative principles means your subtle body, your gross body becomes filled with lust. And this lust controls. One comes under control of that. And then it grows and subtle, this control. Grows, of course, one wants to eat so many things. Grows and sex life. That's gross, but subtle. Subtle, one wants honor and does not want dishonor. And then one becomes fearful of so many things. One wants to one wants to be honored, praised, but he does not like to be dishonored. Yes. Yeah, fearful of losing our possessions, which we think is ours. Fear comes so many levels. But one like Sukadev Goswami, who is on the pure goodness, is no trace of fear. It's Abhay. Abhay is the name of Prabhupada. Abhay. Abhay in Sharnavindu. That fearless at the lotus feet of the Lord. Fear. That. So yes, this Shrutidhar capability is amazing. He mentions name after name, but he does not only their name, he knows their histories. Many times you see him, Sukadev Goswami makes comments that he knows who they are, what their history was. So Purana means history, real histories, Puranas. So that's one thing. It makes the Bhagavatam authoritative. The other thing is, why do we repeat all these names? These are names of great devotees. Just by reciting them, we get benefit. But here we see our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada makes comments. He says, oh, they achieved, because Sukadev says, these sons all achieved the position of Brahmins, but Achamita was a Kshatriya, so Prabhupada comments that, and he refers mainly to 3 verses of course, this Varnashram system. Krishna established himself. Shatur Varnyam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasam. Tasya Kartamapimam Vidya Kartam Afyam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I'm the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So Krishna has created this system to give us a peaceful society. So everyone in this world has a unique combination under the modes of material nature. Unique. You look at your fingerprint, nobody has the same. So we have, and the body is made of material nature, a combination of material nature. We don't speak only about the gross body, also about the subtle body. Mind, intelligent, foreseeing. It's made of these 3 modes, and according to the combination, you get capabilities in your life. You like things naturally, and other things you don't like. You are good in some things, and other things. So what's the point here? We are conditioned by these moods. And now we are conditioned, that is explained in the 14th chapter, in the 6th, in the 17th chapter, and the 18th chapter. These 3 modes, how we are conditioned by these modes. But yes, we are conditioned by these modes. And we need, therefore, we must act according to the dictations of material nature. You cannot go beyond it. Krishna says 2 times in Bhagavad Gita, 2 times as a verse, mentioned 2 times. One should act according to one's nature, and do one's own duty according to one's nature, and not try to do the duty of another. So what does it mean? That the Varnashram, first, what's the purpose of Varnashram? That thing. As mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Atta Pumbhirt Vyashvasta Varnashrama Vibhagasam Svanustitasya Dharmasya Samsitir Haridoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead. So that's the goal. The whole thing is meant to please the Supreme Lord. So we cooperate to please the Supreme Lord. On a spiritual level, nobody is higher or lower. We are all part and parcels of Krishna. But we are differently conditioned because of our past karma. And we have to use our situation to please the Supreme Lord and cooperate. So this Varnashram system gives us a framework in which to cooperate and create a peaceful society. What need is there in society? We need education, we need protection, we need food. And that is perfectly provided by this Varnashram system, because the Vaishyas, it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, what is their duty is cow protection and agriculture and some business. That's the Vaishyas. So the Vaishyas, they provide food and everything everyone needs to all the other sections of society. So nobody has to worry about their food, about how they're going to live. They provide that. And the Kshatriyas, they protect everyone. No need to worry about your protection. It's all looked after. But then you have the Brahmins. The Brahmins, they give free education to everyone. So no worry about your education. And the Sudras, all the others who have the quality to work, they are supporting all the others. And by that, one creates a peaceful society, a society geared to the mode of goodness, where one is peaceful, no worries. And that peaceful society is required to start and to maintain spiritual practice. Because whether one belongs to one of these four classes, everyone, maybe the less qualified Sudras may not be able to do that, but everyone has to go to four spiritual orders. That in the beginning of life, one is a student, a brahmachari, and then one marriage for the man at the age of 21. We heard from Srila Prabhupada in Amrit this morning that, yes, and Shriyasta life, and when the children are grown up, then Vanaprastha life. life of austerity and service to the Supreme Lord, to prepare oneself for the next life, that to focus once. The whole idea of the ashrams is man mana bhava mad bhakto majrivam namaskar. Man mana, Krishna says, think always of me. And if you think always of me, bhava mad bhakto, then you become my devotee. And when you become my devotee, Majai, you worship me. And Namaskar, you offer me respect, and so on. So that's the purpose of Varnashram, to facilitate that. And all activities are done to please the Supreme Lord. Sacrifice for the Supreme Lord. So this is a perfect system. Everyone cooperates. And there is no envy between one and another. That it's not that the Vaishyas thinks that, oh, these Brahmins are better. No, what they do what they like. Today, especially in India, everyone goes for IT education. And then they come in this internet business and so on. And it's very stressful. And they have been pushed by everyone into it. But then they do that for some time and it doesn't give their satisfaction. They feel unhappy because they are not engaged according to their natural capability. And that's a problem. It's important that we are engaged in a way that we feel satisfied with what we're doing. And what is that? What is going to satisfy me is materially. Materially is going to satisfy you what you like to do and what you are good in, naturally. You feel attracted to it. It's natural. Of course, one can say, is my nature Vaishya, or is it a Brahmin, or whatever? In Kali Yuga, in this age, everything's mixed up. You may have a mixed nature, okay? But that mixed nature is also our nature, and we must find out what's our nature. And engage in our nature, in terms of our nature. It's very important to be peaceful. If we are not peaceful, spiritual life becomes very difficult. If our mind is always disturbed, of course, if we are spiritually elevated, then we can do anything. But we are conditioned in the beginning of spiritual life. We must act according to our nature, and also in our movement. The temple resident and so on, it's their duty to engage everyone according to their nature. That's, of course, that's mostly. It's not as if the temple president says, oh, clean the temple floor, that say, oh, that's not my nature. I cannot do that. No, there are things we have to do all that. But generally, our activities should be according to our nature. And that's the defect of modern society. It's a society that creates anxiety. Everyone is under so much stress. Even I heard young people get already treatments against stress. They are always looking at their phone and they are 13, 14 years and they get treatments that too much stress. It's just revolt. It's incredible. But of course, this is the most ideal society. and we don't have it today. But still, we can apply this principle of engaging ourselves according to our nature. That as long as we're conditioned, we have a material svadharma. Our spiritual svadharma is clear. Our spiritual svadharma is clear. We are part and parcels of Krishna, and we must engage in Krishna's service. But as long as we are conditioned, we must use our conditioned nature to serve Krishna. And by that, our conditioned nature becomes purified, means we become less conditioned. And then you come to the platform, you can do anything. Prabhupada could do anything, and he did everything. Because he had attained his pure spiritual nature as a servant of Krishna. He was always thinking, how can I serve? How can I serve? Yeah. But of course, we heard in the Bhagavatam, we learn in the Bhagavatam how Maharaj Parikshit, he was maintaining that Varnashram system. That's one of the duty of the Kshatriya, looking that everyone is engaged according to their nature. And engaged, everyone must be engaged. And that's important, that we have service for Krishna. He always engaged. That if the mind is idle, then it is going to control us and cause problems. We must use the mind and senses always in the service of Krishna. And that has to be done according to our nature. That is what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. And it's a very important principle. I remember always that example, that this devotee who came to Srila Prabhupada and said, yes, that Prabhupada, I want to please you. Tell me anything, what you want, and I will do it for you. And Prabhupada replied, what do you want to do for Krishna? And the devotee replied, Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. Ask me just anything, I will do it for you. And Prabhupada became very grave and said, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do for Krishna? And the devotee said, I want to make unbreakable mridangas. And Prabhupada said, do that for Krishna. And he made this this fiberglass mridangas, which we use all over the world.
Yeah. Did it here?
He did it here. Yeah. Ishan.
Working in the laundry.
In the laundry room. Yeah. So yes, that's an example that what we are good in, and Prabhupada was expert. Yadurani, we were painting, how he engaged her. She wrote a beautiful book about it, that how Prabhupada engaged her in painting, that a beautiful painting here also, probably some originals, I think. Yeah, all originals. Beautiful paintings. Some are made by her, Yadurani.
Yeah, October 1975, I was there in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He visited Rameswara Center to make some money, but he was selling off all the originals, 50 originals.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada knew how to engage those who were good in business. He engaged, but yes, our propensities, use them in Krishna's service. So important. But we hear in the first canto of the Bhagavatam now, it was the duty of Maharaj Parikshit to maintain this Varnashram system. But then he was cursed by Shringi, the unexperienced Brahman son of Samika Rishi. He was a Brahman son, and he became very proud That was the beginning of the deterioration of the Varnashram system. Because the Kshatriyas, they worked always under the instructions of the Brahmins, always submissive to the Brahmins, protecting the Brahmins. They followed because the Brahmins are the head of the society, and the Kshatriyas are the arms, and the Vaishyas are the belly, feeding, and the Sudras are the legs, supporting everything. But then, when a Kshatriya, because a Kshatriya is in a mode of passion, pure passion practically. If a Brahmin says to a Kshatriya, I'm more than you, and he becomes proud, then the Kshatriya rejects the Brahmin. And that is what happened. They rejected the head of society. That
They were not active.
no. So then the Kshatriyas started to act for their own benefit and sense gratification. But then the Vaishyas said, oh, wait a minute. We will divide and rule. We have the capital. And we will give more wealth to those we want. And by that is capitalism, which has been born. Capitalism. We know in the West some form like that. And this capitalism is a first form of the degraded Varnashram system. The Brahmins are gone. And the Kshatriyas, administrators, they want to rule, the politicians. But they are factually ruled by the capital. But then the Sudras said, because the Sudras felt exploited by these Vaishyas now, they said, we don't want it. We plan revolution. And they took over in some parts of the world. That's called communism. Further degraded. But these systems cannot create a peaceful society. It's not possible. That because this natural division, this division is natural. In every society there will be intellectuals. In every society there will be those who want power and rule. And in every society there are businessmen. Nature of businessman. Not really that's there. So whether they create another form of society, but it's still there. In the communist time, communism is a classless society, but there were classes. Yes, the KGB men, they were the elite, and they were very rich. They got so many things, so they created classes because it's natural. They cannot avoid it. But yes, therefore, it's one of our purposes of our movement to create, at least within our society, this system that everyone is engaged according to his nature. And this is our conditioned nature. And that is what Krishna gives us, his nature. And the devotee is satisfied with what Krishna gives me. According to my past misdeeds, I deserve it. And he works with that to please Krishna. And that's the idea. We cooperate to create a peaceful society. And this is what's mentioned here. But these tendencies, we have these natural tendencies that qualifies us to belong to a certain order of social order of life. And that is also confirmed in the 9th canto, Narada Muni, that it's a verse, at the end of this, it's in the 7th canto, yeah, where 11th chapter, probably that's about the Brahmins, sannyasis, Brahmins. That's now the Muni instructing King Yudhishthira. Yasya laksnam proktam pumso varnabhivanyakam yatanya avidishtita tatsaneva vinirdishat. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishnava, Sudra, as described above, even he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. So there was a devotee in Vrindavan when Srila Prabhupada was there. And he went to one of the temples, and the pujari welcomed him and said, "Oh, yeah, from ISKCON. It's very good. Maybe in your next life, you will become a Brahmin." Yeah. But the devotee said, "Yeah, one is not Brahmin by birth," the devotee said. And he quoted this verse, Yasya laksnam proktam pumso varnabhivanyakam yatanya avidishtita tatsaneva vinirdishat. And the Pujari was impressed by that he knew that verse. But then the devotee went to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, "You go back to him and said that if he's fortunate to perform his duties nicely, then in his next life he may become a devotee in ISKCON and become a devotee of Krishna." Because being a Brahmin does not mean that you are a devotee per se. Brahmins, they have on different levels. They have the Brahmins, the Jnanis. Brahmins would think I'm Brahman. They don't believe in Krishna even. You have Brahmins who are on the level of the yogis. But the real Brahman is the devotee. Because the devotee goes beyond the Brahman platform. Far beyond. The Brahman platform is Aham Brahmasmi. One realizes I'm Brahman, I'm not this body. But that's the beginning of spiritual life. That's Brahman realization is Nishtha. Nishtha. Then the heart is purified from lust, anger, and greed. When it comes to Nishtha, peaceful, there's the Brahma Buddha platform, Brahman platform, or Brahma Buddha, beginning of spiritual life. Brahma Buddha, Prashanatma, one is peaceful. Actually, one does not lament anymore, one does not hunger in anything in this world, one has realized I'm not this body. It's good to know you are not this body, but what then? You have to know who you are. They don't know. They know what they are not. They are spiritual. Nice to know. But who are we? Then they have to realize that they are a part and parcel of Krishna. And if they realize they are a part and parcel of Krishna, then what's my duty? The part should serve the whole. And then they engage in devotional service. The same with the yogis. The yogis, they come. What's the purpose of the yogis? Chitatmana prashantasma. And Chitatmana prashantasma. Yeah. Paramatma Samatha, when their mind becomes peaceful because it's purified, they find Paramatma in the heart. They find Paramatma in the heart, and they come to the conclusion, Paramatma controls material nature. Nice realization, but what can you do with that? You stay in this material world, that's all. Nice to know. But then, no, then you must become the highest yogi. Yogi namapisarvam, matchana pratnam, shodavam, vachdevam, samayukta tamamatam. The highest yogi is one who is united in love with the Supreme Lord in the heart. That's the highest yogi. So then you must go to bhakti. So these are all stages coming to bhakti. So being a Brahmin is not a big achievement in this world. But a devotee attains that automatically because he lives in goodness and comes sharply to the mode of goodness. But then, after being purified, one becomes attracted to Krishna. Ruchi. Ashakti. Ashakti means one finds Krishna in the heart. That an advanced devotee, while speaking, he feels Krishna in the heart. He sees that I'm not speaking, I desire only to speak. Krishna is speaking to me. He's controlling. He sees Krishna acting also through others. And then Krishna says, one who sees me in everyone's heart is never lost. It's always connected with me. And that's Krishna consciousness. And that's the purpose, not becoming a Brahmin. But the Brahmin in the Varnashram helps us, that educates us. So real Brahmins are the Vaishnava Brahmins. They educated us in spiritual life. And that's the highest, because Varnashram is meant for Haritoshanam. It's meant for worshipping the Supreme Lord. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is meant to be used in his service. That's basic spiritual teaching. So that's what I could say on this verse. I talked a bit about Varnashram in context here. Any question? Comment? Yes, Gokulanda. Yes.
So you said Kshatriyas have been more in the use of passion, and Vaishyas and Shudras are more in the use of passion and ignorance. But then, like among the devotee circle, we always encourage devotees to be in the mode of goodness. Is it not like artificial trying to bring them to trying to make them around them? Because naturally people are in they also want to become devotees, but God is encouraging them.
Yeah, thank you. That the purpose is to purify our heart from lust, anger, and greed. That means coming to the mode of goodness. But that's not something we do artificially. That by engaging our nature in the service of the Lord, that's what's happening. Tato Chastamova Kamalok Seter Navitam Stitve Satve Prashidati. Clearly, the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance diminishes. It's a process. But when we become devotees, we live externally already, a life in goodness. We take a shower in the morning. That's goodness. That we cannot skip that. We must take a shower in the morning. We must stop, put up tilak, and and come to the temple and hear about Krishna in the morning. So whatever your nature is, that is a direct practice of our spiritual svadharma. So we must also do that. And at the same time, not neglect our material svadharma, our material conditioned state. So during the day, we must do activities according to our nature mostly. Otherwise, we will not be satisfied. So that's the message. But by doing that, we become purified. Of course, Arjuna, he was on the transcendental platform already. But to give example to us, he was a Kshatriya, and he acted in a mode of passion. But it was not action in the mode of passion. It was action to please Krishna. Externally, it looked like that. That he was empowered by Krishna. And when I remember that later after the disappearance of Krishna, but you remember how Krishna empowered him. That, so then it becomes transcendental. That, but yes, this combination is very important. Living the life of a devotee to the mode of goodness. Internally, we may not be yet there, but externally we try. But then we have to use our material conditioned nature in the service of Krishna, and that will change our nature. That because we do it for Krishna. By that transcendental contact, we become purified. And that purification is supported by the morning program, hearing about Krishna. And then we become purified. It takes usually a few years, 30, 40 years, but one becomes purified. Yes.
Say that color to the sound.
Yeah.
Does that mean that does it indicate that in other yugas people are born differently and they're born?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and in this age, the mode of ignorance and passion are most predominant. Srila Prabhupada confirms that in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Shaturdav Jantimam Yechna Sugataran Artashihna Shaktartihan. In the purport of that verse, it says 4 pious people who come. No, it's the 4 impious people. That's the verse before. It says there, the Narada is 99.9% of the population, socially educated, politically developed, that going and practice religiosity only because for their own benefit. That yes, that's a situation of Kali Yuga. Waarin Alpa Yusa Sabe Kali Pasminchgeen Shana Manus Manda Mateo Manda Upad Waarin Alpa Yusa Sabe Kali Pasminchgeen. This is the symptoms of those in Kali Yuga. They're short-sighted. That always disturbed in mind, that short-lived, so many, and that's our unfortunate situation. We are born in that situation. But that does not mean we have to stay in ignorance and passion. No, we can change our modes. How do you change your modes? It's explained in the 11th canto in the Uddhava Gita. 20 ways or something to change your modes. It depends on the scriptures you study, on what you eat, with the people you associate with, yes, with the activities that you do deity worship, that will all change your modes. So we want to come out of the modes, but by practicing by the 5 most important items of devotional service, associating with devotees, hearing the scriptures, deity worship, chanting the holy name, living in a temple or the place where the deity is worshipped, that we change our modes, we go up gradually to goodness and then to transcendence finally. So it's important we don't stay in a position. We can come out of ignorance and elevate us. That's the purpose of Krishna consciousness. This elevation is included automatically if you're following Christ. Does that help? Thank you.
Well, that's a very vast topic. You covered very, very essential points and to really help understand the connection of person becoming a Christian Bhakta. It's like there's a good book there. The movement on the Divaya, the Krishna is worship. He's the worshipful Lord of the Brahmins. Now I was wondering, okay, tell us about there's no real Brahmins in this country. So how can we have the head of society, the real teachers and educators, but they're not available. No one's born in that higher position. So my understanding is that by Krishna Bhakti, you gain the mental qualities and then go to God. But at least if you can attain the mental qualities. And also, perhaps I'll give you a statement, but you can please correct me. But my understanding is that Brahmins will train Brahmins, and mature Brahmins will train the Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas will train Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas will train Vaishyas, and maybe Sudras will be in the way. So at the top, the Brahmins have to be Vaishyas, and then it gives the purpose to the rest of the system, some Siddhi Poshanam, that everyone eventually will be trained to offer their abilities towards Krishna's service.
That's the point. At the top, Krishna wants a Mahabhagavat. He wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj, that a Mahabhagavat. That's the top. And this Mahabhagavat.
Okay, so the Brahman will become inspired by a pure devotee. A superlative devotee, Mahabhagavat. So actually the Mahabhagavat is at the top of the whole pyramid. He's showing the perfection of life.
Yeah, but the Mahabhagavat will still follow the Brahmins, to give the example. That out of duty, that but the highest Brahmins are the Vaishnavas, the Vaishnava Brahmins. That and we see also in the Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, that there's practice all the Pandavas on that. We're on that level. They're pure devotees of Krishna. And, but they still followed the Brahmins. The Damya was their family priest. and they respected him as a Brahmin. So they followed all the rituals that, but with Vaishnava understanding, with the right understanding. When Rukmini was worshipping Durga, she was accompanied with Durga before kidnapped by Krishna, that's in the Bhagavatam, and she was accompanied by many many elder women who were Brahmins. Brahmin women. Yeah, that
They were worshiping that thing on.
worshipping.
Krishna.
Yeah, they were worshipping Durga to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, that to bless Rukmini. But they understood Durga as a servant of the Supreme Lord. And it's like a priest does makes an offering on your behalf. So the demigods are servants who are offering, like a priest doing an offering out of the Supreme Lord on our behalf. That they saw it as such, that I heard as explanation by our acharyas. So if we read that, we should not be bewildered thinking that they are doing demigod worship. Not at all. They have the right understanding. Good. Right. Yeah, over time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.